Family, children are being hit hard by the opioid crisis. This video talks about how they are accidentally overdosing on opioids and a lot more. So stay tuned for the following video to get the full scope on what's happening with the children and opioids.
For unconscious overdose.
We used to see maybe 2 overdoses a month, and now we're seeing 2 to 3 a day. 2 to 3 overdoses a day. It sounds like there's 3 patients now.
3 patients?
Yeah.
Big crowd.
Yeah.
Gotta stay back for you. I got one fatal in the back of the medic right now.
There was 3 patients total. This guy was laying outside of the van, and then the driver of the van is still in there now, and they're giving him Narcan, and they're doing CPR on this guy right now. Instead of bringing a dead body to the hospital, we usually field terminate, and then the coroner will come get him. So,
Wait a minute. The man that's in the ambulance might die?
Yeah, probably. It's not looking good. They have a pulse,
Yeah?
so they're going to the hospital.
Okay. So
that's good.
the man who was in bad shape has a pulse?
Yes.
That's
which
good
is
news.
Yeah, that's great news.
Have you all seen children on calls?
We've had calls where it's been mother and father, and the kids are the ones that call the ambulance for them.
We carry teddy bears on our medic units. So usually one member of the crew, if they're not needed for care, will distract the kids, grab them a bear and take them off to the side.
Most of the time it's adults that Dayton Fire sees on these calls, but 19 times this year they've had to respond to calls for children with opioids in their system. Those kids are brought right here, Dayton Children's Hospital, and this is where the emergency department takes over. You had a 13-month-old baby come in, accidental overdose.
Yeah.
13 months old.
13 months old. Unbelievable.
Some of the new opioids out there, carfentanil, fentanyl, how deadly are those for kids?
Especially the carfentanil, extremely deadly, and at a very, very, very small amount can cause a child to stop breathing, become unconscious, eventually die.
If they touch it, or do they have to eat it, or?
There can be some dermal exposure, there can be inhalation, skin exposure, inhalation, i.e. they breathe it in. Obviously, the most common thing I would think would be probably that they ingest it orally. Kids are exploring at the age of 2, 3, 4. They find a baggie on the floor, smells good or looks interesting. I'm going to put some of this in my mouth. Many times we don't know it right away.
How do you figure it out? How do you know if a child is, out of it because they're on opioids?
Autopsy.
Toxicology reports released today indicate a 13-month-old child died after overdosing on a mixture of fentanyl and carfentanil back in May.
As a hospital, we're trying to figure out how to develop a community-wide response. And so we're developing a whole host of programs and services to figure out how to get out into the community and be more proactive in reaching the community.
She said that people were smoking and drinking in the car. Join Sally, psychologist at Dayton Children's here at the house.
Detective Barber, Dave PD.
Michelle Terry, Children's Services, House at Care House.
Detective Holly Bruss, Dayton Police Station here at Care House. We see physical abuse, we see sexual abuse, child sex trafficking.
That's hard to process,
Yes. I think that as people grow desperate to obtain money to buy drugs, they're looking for the means to do that. And unfortunately, Selling children for sex is a very lucrative thing to do.
As far as mental health, what are the biggest issues that you see?
Is anxiety. They don't know what's going to happen. And that anxiety then follows through for many years and results in all kinds of problems with these kids because there's not an end in sight. The continuing bad choices by parents, the cost is paid for by these kids.
And do you worry as they get older that unfortunately they might repeat the same mistakes?
Well, I think the data is pretty clear on that. The kids raised in environments where parents abuse drugs grow up and have a higher prevalence rate of abusing drugs themselves. I wonder for the parents who are abusing drugs, and call it an addiction, call it a disease, call it whatever you want. But at the same time, the choice they're making results in bad things to their kids.
A lot of your colleagues here would say it's not a choice, it is a disease.
I know, but there's a certain point in which you got to make a tough decision in life.
Hi, gorgeous. The opioid crisis has impacted every corner of Dayton Children's Hospital. So we're going to go up now to the neonatal intensive care unit. If a pregnant woman has been using opioid drugs, sometimes the children are born addicted, and this is where they take care of them. She's hungry.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Yeah. Is she doing better?
Yes, a lot better.
Can I ask what happened?
He was born very early, just had a lot of problems.
And was that because of drug use?
That was because I was in active addiction, yes.
That must have motivated you to want this pregnancy to be different.
Like, almost right away, I was like, I can't live through that again.
Do you worry that she might be impacted just because she had the drugs in her system?
I do. To me, it seems like more cases that I have personally seen than not. They've seen him grow out of a lot of stuff. And, I personally haven't seen too many cases of, long-term issues when it comes to it. Yeah, I do have that concern. I believe that she'll be okay, though.
She's so precious.
Thank you.
How important is mom being involved?
I think mom is probably the most important piece of the puzzle.
It seems like every inch of this hospital is having to deal with the opioid crisis,
Yes.
including here.
Absolutely. And it's only gotten worse over the last 10 years that I've been here. And I think one of the saddest things that I see is the babies that are rooting and they're trying to get something in their mouth and they just can't get their mouth to do what they want it to do.
They can't take a
bottle, they can't take a pacifier because they just can't get their lips to form that seal around the bottle or the pacifier.
And that's related.
To suck.
That's related to drug
That's related
use?
to their withdrawal. Yes.
With all these babies, what's your first goal?
The first goal is to try and keep from using medicine, honestly. We want to keep the baby's symptoms as mild as possible. So we want to maximize the things that we can do that don't involve giving them medication. That's holding, it's cuddling, it's a darkened room, it's mom being present, someone available to swaddle them.
Developmentally, does anyone know what's going to happen to these babies down the road?
I don't think we do yet.
This is Jude, and he's 2, and he's been coming to the hospital's newborn follow-up clinic for a couple of years now. His birth mother was using heroin all through her pregnancy, and these are his adoptive parents. We have Ashley and Jay. You guys have been coming to just check his progress, right, and make sure there's no long-term effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is he meeting all the developmental milestones for a 2-year-old?
Yes. Yeah, we think so. And even in some ways, he's ahead of the game because he's been coming here, we think.
Can we do peekaboos? We see our light. Peekaboo. I know you want to do this light too.
Jude is a great example. He looks so very typical right now, and he had a really hard start.
Do we know what happens to the babies who were in the neonatal intensive care unit because they're born addicted? What happens as they become 2 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old?
I don't think we have enough information yet. I just don't think we have enough information. We have better supports now for them because we know about it. So I think that what happened to them 40 years ago and 50 years ago is probably different than what we're going to see in the future, but I don't think we know yet.
What's your concern as all those kids grow up?
I think we're going to have to see what they're like as adults. Are they going to be able to work? Are they going to have families? Are they going to have problems with addiction themselves? I don't know those answers.
After viewing the previous video, tell me, what do you think? Please share your views and thoughts in the comment section below.